I made a DayZ rant video like 1 year ago, talking about some things that I didn't like in the game whatsoever, and this is pretty much going to be the same video, but obviously addressing different things. I'll jump straight into it. First thing, which I cannot believe they've changed because it was completely fine the way it was before, is the inventory system. They've now made it so you cannot move whatsoever when you press tab and look into your inventory. Why they've done this, absolutely no clue. Completely flawed in every way you look at it because it makes no sense. I'll break it down for you right now. So let's just assume that their thought process behind this decision was, okay, yeah, you want to go in your bag and you can't take your bag off your back in game, but in real life you would need to do that to get whatever it is out of your bag. So they thought, let's just make it so you can't move whatsoever. I'll tell you a few reasons why this logic is completely flawed, and number one is going to be you can most definitely run, walk, move side to side, or do at least some form of movement whilst taking a backpack off your back in real life. No issues there. And number two, what about, items that are in your clothing, like, for example, you're wearing trousers. I know it's not as in depth as like you got it in your pocket, but that's pretty much what it is. So I've got some shotgun shells in my pocket. Why can I not sprint and get them shells out of my pocket and reload my gun at the same time? Absolutely no reason why I can't do that, because that is very, very possible to do. Not difficult whatsoever. And it's not even shotgun shells, it's just anything. Why can't you just simply, at the very least, walk? I don't know why they made it so you have to completely be stationary now. That just bothers me, because it's a general thing with this game that things that are working fine before, they like to tweak them, and they're shocking at this. Like, they just fuck it up every time. It's just tilt worthy. Second thing is the health stats. I'm going to say the food icons. That's them icons in the bottom right corner. I'm not a personal fan of the way they've done this. I think they've made it a lot more basic than what it used to be. Like, the whole thing is just now very basic, whereas before it was quite in depth. Before you could really separate average players from good players from the way that you'd like sustain your characters' hydration levels and energize levels. I'll just tell you what it was like before, because obviously you had the bright green, nothing on your screen. Then you had orange and red. Self-explanatory what it is basically, but for you to now take that away and then just have a few icons in the bottom corner of your screen, just not exactly knowing when you're full or when you need a drink, I think that's just silly, because people know when they need to drink. They know when they've had too much to eat, and they know when they've had enough to drink. Now there's no really sure way of knowing, whereas before, like, good players would always make sure that they have enough food and drink to sustain that bright green stat. Couldn't mean the difference between life and death if you're in a firefight or whatever and you get shot. So why they've removed that, no clue. I'm just quick find all these. So the third thing is melee. Oh god, don't even get me started on this new combat system. On the face of things, it looks slightly better. I'll give you that. It looks a lot more like smoothed and worked out. But when you get into the nitty gritty of it and you actually start using it, it is so bad. They've took out all the skill involved in melee now. Now it's just who can hit you first time, and as soon as you get hit, you do this animation, and you're stuck in this animation. For as long as they hit you good, if they just keep hitting you, they just track you and keep hitting you, you're stuck in this animation and you're effectively taken out of the game. You're now powerless to move. You can't do anything. Whereas before, you could be good at it and you could be bad at it. Whereas now, it's anyone's game. It's just whoever gets that first shot and whoever gets the other player into that animation. Whereas before, you could really time your shots. You could really bob and weave in and out and pick when you want one good shot to the head. Because that's all it took. If you were good enough to get that one shot on the head, then you could knock them out straight away. Whereas now it's just absolute click fest. Who can just click the fastest and just kind of stay locked on the target. Super boring. Don't know why they've done that. I wish there was some kind of mod where you could go back and take all these things out. Fourth thing, nighttime. It's bad. Nighttime was bad enough before. Let's be honest. Okay, before it wasn't bad, but no one really enjoyed playing nighttime servers before. But now, God, I don't think I've ever seen a nighttime server people playing in it. It's just so ridiculous what they've done. They made it so you effectively cannot see at nighttime, rendering most players who don't have any source of light unable to play because you physically cannot see. Imagine if a new player joins this game, doesn't have any source of light, and he joins a nighttime server. A new player, bear in mind, who's heard no bad press about this game, and he's joining the server and it's completely pitch black. He can't adjust anything, it's just pitch black. He's not going to stay, is he? He's just going to think, wow, this game's terrible, and leave and not come back. First impressions count. Before it was, you know, this is the annoying thing, it's a video game, so there's so many different factors that you can't put in a video game in that are in real life, and they just seem to like choose one thing and there's no compromising with it. They just shove it in and not adjust for anything else, and then it just really fucks up the gameplay. Because I didn't particularly want to play on nighttime servers before, but you know I would, because you could at least see something. But now it's just absolutely pointless. Completely bad decision there. This is the thing that they do. This is me like criticizing from like tough love perspective, because I do love this game, but they just should, you know, they should fix things that are broken rather than changing things that worked fine and making them worse, because that is what they literally do. Like there's, and I'm not talking about the bugs. Like, of course there's going to be bugs in the game, like no one's bothered about that, but I'm bothered the fact that they purposely have to like think about these things. They make a conscious decision to completely rework something that worked absolutely fine before, and 9 times out of 10 they make it much worse, much worse. Like, there's a bug in the game now where you can spawn in and you're pretty much dead because you're bleeding and you're dying of dehydration. You're probably going to die from that, or if not, you're going to struggle to recover. Like, how do these things get past the testing phases? Like, there must be 3, at least there's 2, but imagine there's 3 phases of testing. There must be like internal testing, then they push it on experimental, and stable. Like, I'm classing stable as a test because it's in beta still, so the whole fucking game's a test, to be honest. But how these things get through when it's so blatantly obvious, I'll never know. Luckily for us, like, modding can solve a lot of these things, but I don't feel like a game that relies on community mods to be good is particularly where we want to go with this game. I think core aspects should be good, because right now I can't play on servers without the inventory plus mod, where it takes it back to how it was before, where you can actually move in the inventory. I cannot play on servers if they don't have that, because it just bothers me so much. Like, I can't get used to it. I just don't know, the thought process behind it is so flawed. Hopefully soon, I don't know if this is possible or not, that there'll be a mod where you can just like go back in time to where the game was admittedly probably in a worse state, like engine wise, but like gameplay was so much better. They weren't trying so hard then to be too realistic, because it's a video game. You can't simulate everything in real life. You just can't. If you were to do that, no one would play the game because it'd be fucking boring as fuck. Yeah, so that's just a little rant video from me. I'm struggling to play this game at the moment, so that's why obviously there's been no uploads. But yeah, if I do ever find a motivation to make a cool video again, then I definitely will do. Thanks for watching.